The National Library of Wales have been very supportive of the project from the start. I can't thank them enough for their help and enthusiasm and also their expert advice. I was able to benefit from a lot of these suggestions and information that they provided me as we developed the project across the UK as a whole. They identified that the project could complement one of their library strategies to target education and outreach at children in poverty, thereby offering a quality cultural provision to children who may otherwise never get this opportunity. In many cases, these were children whose parents are not going to take them to an art gallery. However, when I first approached the library and asked Jamie Thomas, exhibition officer, whether we might be able to borrow the Turner, she said, "I thought you might say that. Let me find out." I have to say, I felt quite brave, suggesting that I loan the jewel in the crown of the collection to a school of unruly primary school children. Yes, what a good idea that was. Nevertheless, the purpose of the project was to loan masterpieces, and this certainly fitted the bill. Very generously, they agreed to make the loan, and what a perfect painting it is. Painted in 1799 to 1800, while Turner was fascinated by the rugged beauty of the Welsh landscape, the small painting captures a dramatic moment in 1255 when Owen Goch, Owen the Red, was captured by his own brother and led to the Tower of Dolbadarn, which became his prison for over 20 years. Dr. Paul Joyner, here at the library, has accurately described this as one of the great romantic landscapes of Wales. The painting was loaned to Trelai Primary School, Ely, Cardiff. It's situated in the west end of Cardiff in an area of socio-economic deprivation. Data from 2012 to 13 showed that nearly 50% of the children were entitled to free school meals, 90% of the children lived in the 20% most deprived areas of Wales, 18% of the children were at school action, and 17% of children were from an ethnic minority background, with 8% with English as a second language. A number of children in the school are also looked after by the local authority. It's really a school that the statistics make challenging reading. But we visited the school ahead of the loan and were so impressed by the warmth and enthusiasm and real commitment to the teachers. This truly is a school that is working to transform lives. The painting, as we've seen, there was great learning potential around the subject in the painting. It fitted the masterpieces bill. We had an opportunity to look at the attraction of Wales to 18th century artists, an opportunity to explore Welsh language and Welsh culture. There was plenty of planning put in place, plenty of dialogue between the library and the school ahead of the loan to ensure everything ran smoothly. The school day started with an assembly at which a painting was unveiled, and all children were encouraged to dress up as artists or paintings. There were lots of Van Goghs in the crowd. Preparatory work on the theme of castles had been undertaken, and the children had prepared a gallery of their work to show visitors and parents. All children had some time close up with the painting in the library, and years 5 and 6 had in-depth study sessions based around one of 3 themes. Learning was in English, the school is English speaking, but focused around Welsh culture, history and identity, embracing key aspects of the curriculum, as well as supporting creative literacy and thinking. Rhodri Morgan delivered a session about the library's art and landscape collection. Paul Joyner delivered a session about Turner and his relationship with Dolbadarn. And Owen Llewellyn delivered a session about Welsh princes, complete with a look at heraldic material and manuscript material based on other sources in the library. There's a few slides here showing the day in action. Paul here unveiling the painting, which had previously been covered by a Welsh flag, which he whipped off, hoping the painting was still underneath.
Which it was. It
was, yeah. The teachers had also made an effort. One of the lovely things, and we were just discussing this, one of the lovely things we all remember about the project was that the children had designed and curated a gallery in preparation for the arrival of the painting. They didn't know it was coming, but they knew something was happening, and this was their gallery. A few examples of the children getting up close. Andrew giving an impromptu session to a group of children that I'm not sure he was expecting to deliver, but he delivered it very well indeed. And it's lovely to see their faces. They're really engaged, they're really looking closely. And one of the nice things about it being in the school environment is that they're very comfortable. Often they come into an institution and they're put off and distracted by the other things going on, or it's a day off school and it's an opportunity to just have fun because they're out of school. But this really focused attention on the painting in an environment that they were familiar and happy with. The enthusiasm of the children in the schools really was captivating. We all felt it, and we all remember those moments of the awe that the children expressed in their faces. However, here at the library, and this is something else that we were very keen should happen, they were very keen to deepen the experience by building a lasting relationship with the school. So 3 weeks later, the library put on 2 coaches to allow years 5 and 6 to pay a return visit. This follow-up activity is actively encouraged, especially because recent museums journal studies have showed that educational visits by schools are actually on the decline due to the cost of travel, insurance, and the perceived fear of taking children out of school. The library very generously helped to overcome one of these areas by funding the buses that brought the children up here for the day. And the teacher did say they couldn't have done it without this additional support. The children came to see, partly, the Welsh Landscapes exhibition, which highlights the library's rich collection of topographical paintings, drawings and prints. Turner had been loaned on the very first day of the project, on the 1st of October, partly so the project could be launched in Wales with a high profile, the jewel of the crown in Wales almost, but also for a practical purpose because it needed to get back to the library so it could be installed in the exhibition which was opening a couple of weeks later. I think it was at this point that the impact of the project became very apparent. These children, many of whom had never been in an art gallery before, walked into the Welsh Landscapes exhibition and were confronted with the Turner that had been at their school 3 weeks previously. They shouted, and I mean shouted, "It's our painting!" And you could see that they were switched on and engaged by the whole experience. The techniques they had learned in looking at painting, how artists use paint to construct depth, texture and mood, could now be explored by comparison with other works in the exhibition. I mean, it's great to have one work in school to get up close and personal with, but how great now to be able to explore what they've learned in the contexts of other paintings. One of the paintings I remember them being very taken with, and I had a conversation with a couple of children in front of this painting, was Kyffin Williams' view of Snowdon. It's completely different in scale from the Turner at 120 by 240 centimetres. But also another very evocative painting of one of these most iconic of Welsh landscapes. The children are so astute. They observed the different palette, were awed by its size, the thick impasto, the use of varnishes to depict depth and texture. It was a really very sophisticated, but also very fresh language they were using in response to the paintings in the exhibition. The visit to the library gave the children the opportunity to explore some of the other cultural treasures, books, old and new, large and small, very, very small. The smallest book in the library was one of the things they were very impressed by when they came to see it. And they also had an opportunity to get to grips with how an institution like this works by exploring book stacks, painting stores and safe rooms. Here they are exploring the manuscripts exhibition, 4 books, Welsh Icons Reunited. Fantastic getting children looking at the books that celebrate the earliest creative literature in Welsh. They were really buzzing with the whole experience. We surveyed participants to measure the outcomes of the project. We asked quantitative questions that would enable to give us a statistical answer about what percentage of children had enjoyed this and that aspect, but we also asked for sort of qualitative responses about what they liked, what they didn't like. We discovered that 99% of children involved in the project would be encouraged to visit the art galleries. 95% of them said they would use your paintings again. 100% of them said they enjoyed using paintings to learn about other subjects, so not just about art, but using paintings to learn about maths, about history, about geography. But I think the qualitative statements are perhaps more revealing. Can we go into art galleries and see paintings whenever we like? A genuinely curious curious question from a child in Middlesbrough. He didn't know that these paintings were out there and he could just walk in and see them. Another child in Hounslow. The worst part of the day was when we had to leave. And one of the responses from a child in Trelai Primary School, it was just amazing. And these comments were echoed by the collections involved and the teaching staff. They described it as the best day of teaching in their lives. A curator who said this reminded her why she'd gone into the job in the first place.